I've got here a Cedrus deodara or Deodar Cedar that I bought from a garden centre last year, perhaps about this time, maybe a bit later, maybe in the early summer. And I wired it up to get some curve into the trunk, which you can see here. Most of the wire has been removed now. But one of the things that is quite unappealing about this tree is that it has quite floppy foliage, especially new foliage, which pretty much everything on this tree is because it's so young. If you look at it in parks in the UK, you'll notice that all the new foliage on the end of branches like droops down. So it was really droopy and not very attractive. So I trimmed off, I think at the time, almost every branch, not off but back. So I trimmed it back a little bit, and you can see here are the cuttings of that work. So I didn't take that much off, but I suppose 1/4 or 1/3 of the foliage, perhaps a half, can't really remember, but I left a lot of foliage on, right? And what's interesting about this is that it has seemed to have firmed up a bit. So I don't think I wired these branches to be horizontal, to be honest. I think I just left them, but it has firmed up, and there's loads of buds on it. So, but they're starting to break now, the buds. So it feels like this is the right time to prune it before it expends energy in growing those buds. Really what I want it to do is focus its energy on buds further back down the branch, which there's loads. So that's what I'm going to do now. So this will just be a little bit of a kind of progress video. But before I do that, just talking about these cuttings here, I think I just stuck them in the soil, to be honest with you. I don't think maybe I dipped them in rooting hormone, but then I've just left them outside in perhaps like partial shade. And it doesn't look like any of them have died, maybe one, but they all seem to be doing really well. So it's quite reassuring to see. So I'm going to start at the bottom of this and see what I can see. So on this bottom branch, yeah, so there's a bud here, coming out here, but not that much on this. So I'm just going to take off the tip of this one, just so that I'm actually cutting something and trying to avoid the needles. And then here, there's a bud here and a bud here. So I'm going to go back to the first bud on this bifurcation. That's that one done. On this one, there's a bud here. So I'm just going to go back to that. There's probably one in there I can't see. I'm just going to go back there. Right, this one above. So there's a bud all the way back here, which is awesome. And there's one here. So I'm just going to go after that. There we are. I'm going quite close to the buds, like only a couple of millimeters away from them. Not that I know that that's right or wrong, but that's what I'm doing. On this end bit, let's go back. We've got a little branch here. It has got a bud. Where's the bud? I'm going to leave this little wispy one for now because I can't see any buds on it. And there's another bit here. This has got lots of buds. So I'm going to take this back to its first bud. Could really do with some smaller scissors. This would be a nice time to use my snips from the walking in the garage. Okay, so here we have a bud. Let's go back to there. And here we've got a bud at the base and then the second one a bit further on. So I'm just going to go for that. That maybe could be a cutting. And we've got quite a big branch here. And I can't see that many buds down its base. But a bit further along there are. So I'm just going to go back to okay. Doesn't appear to be buds on this one until quite a long way along it. So I'll just go to the first one I can find. Same here, not much until quite far down. Let's go to the first one I find. There's a branch further down the stem. It doesn't seem to have any on it except at the end. So I'll just leave that for now. No, I won't. I'll cut it. Cut it to a place where there's like some density of needles, which perhaps there's a bud in there, I just can't see it. So I'm just going to go to after that point. Right. At the back here I've got a really long straggly branch, but it's got loads of buds along it. So I'm going to cut to the third. 1, 2, 3. It's really long, and that will be a cutting for sure. And at the back. Again, really long branch, the bud, 1, 2, and go to the second bud. The reason I'm going back to the second bud and not the first is because it feels conservative. It's not like I'm following a rule. Right, here we've got quite a floppy one. It's coming out from a point right above another branch. So 2 branches coming from exactly the same place is not such a good idea because of inverse taper. But once you, depending on what shape you're going for and what orientation the tree is going to have, affects which one of the 2 you'll take off. So the question is whether to take it off now or just to leave it. I think it's kind of crossing, so I'm going to take it off. I don't know if you can see, but it's around this point. There's one coming this way, and then directly above it there's another one coming out the other way, and they're so close to each other they look like they're kind of twisting around each other. There we go, another cutting. Alright, the buds at the top of the tree are much more advanced than the ones further down, I think. So at the back, still, we've got buds along this branch. 1, 2, let's take it here. So I wouldn't have cut in this far to begin with. I was just really chopping the tips, but as it's now budding back, then it's a good time to get rid of all of that growth along and start again, but from closer in so that it will be denser. Okay, this one here. So we've got some buds really early on, and then we've got this bifurcation, which we probably don't need. I can probably just take this all off. So this is very floppy, but we've got loads of buds deep inside this, so we can go back quite far. So this is awesome, right? Absolutely awesome. There. There's loads of foliage coming off. So I was thinking this is perhaps too early to be pruning. We should wait for the frost possibility to pass. But because these buds are breaking, it's like a point just to think, oh, do I stay cautious and worry about the frost, or do I just go for it? And so this tree comes from the Himalayas, and I figure a little bit of frost isn't going to worry it. Not that I know anything about the climate in the Himalayas, but it sounds cold. Okay, so this one here, again, so we've got a bifurcation here, right? But I think we can just go for, we've got 2 buds before that bifurcation, so I think we can just go for them and just cut this off. branch coming off. There's also some wiring. So it's actually quite scarred, this tree, from the wiring I've done. But I think I took it all off and then rewired this top just to keep it curvy. So we want to avoid scarring. We've already seen that we can get it. So let's take it off. Can always be wired again. Probably this tree is going to be wired a lot over time, so it's very flexible. There. Alright, so this branch, quite thick, probably too thick. Do we have any buds on it? Yes, but they're further out. So let's go to, you've got two here. Let's go to here. We've got this coming out. And then there's about quite close to the branching point. Is there any more? Yeah, there's one there. So I'm going to go back to the second one on this. This stem, this branch, about there. It's quite difficult to see. It's going to go back to the first bud on this. Now, this one here, it's about right down here, and the second one there. So let's go here. And this branch. One bud, two buds. Further up. One bud, two buds. Then there's another one right next to it. I'll just leave that. No, to cut it off. Alright. And we've got quite a density here. Brown needles kind of stand out, where otherwise it's looking really healthy. Can I get rid of some of this density? Okay, so here, well, here we've got three branches pretty much exactly the same point. So I'm going to take out this one, which is on the inside of a loop, of a curve. Now we've got two left because that one's gone. It seems a bit further away. Now here we've got two bar branches. I'm going to take the one out on the inside of the curve. two here are very close, but for now I'm just going to leave them. Two more really close here, but for now I'm just going to leave them. And then the apex, it's actually a ladybird in this foliage. How awesome. I wonder what if I can give it anything to eat. How cool. So I'm just going to cut the apex off. Back to this bifurcation. I wonder if when you do cuttings, if you have an apex and you put that in, if it would strike faster than the others. Assume it would. That's probably a bit small compared to the others, but it's the apex. And then all the others I'm just going to chop back to their first bud. Maybe that will like take out some of the apical dominance and let some of the stuff grow further down. Avoiding this. Oh, okay, it's full then, but it's probably safer down there, and that there's the dropped foliage that you can hide in. These branches here, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all on the inside of the curve, which I think usually you should avoid, but this tree can still be bent and this can still quite flexible, so things could change. So for now I'm just leaving it, but they can definitely be shortened. All right, so I think that is enough for that tree, which I think looks great for what was essentially a very floppy, straight, bolt upright piece of nursery material, which cost me probably about 15 quid, something like that.